This talk is about generalizing the Chefalo Rope Trick, and this is joint work with myself and Allison Henrich. Chefalo was an Italian magician living in the 1800s, and he created a trick which was somewhat known before, and as I have on the slide, he performed it for inclusion in a 1912 book called Exclusive Magical Secrets by Goldston, which is dedicated to Houdini. And this trick, in fact, his Chefalo trick occurs in a prominent place in the beginning of the book. And this is his diagram for the trick. You may be familiar with this trick. You tie a trefoil knot, and then you tie a square knot above it, and then you do a threading just right, and the knot disappears when you pull on it. You may be familiar with that trick. Here's Goldston's pattern. I just read the last part, the number 3 knot, the third stage. He says, I tie number 3, and it's well-known fact that it's a lucky number, and thereby, by means of the luck there is in that number and the magical influence which as a conjurer I'm supposed to possess, I cause all the knots to disappear. In fact, the knots are not there, and that is really how the trick is done. That's his pattern. If you go to the Ashley Book of Knots, you find essentially the same diagram as in Goldston, which is interesting, and a little description of the trick there. If you are reading, you find this is one of the queerest knots. Some days I can tie it, some days I can't. First I will tie a half knot, then I'll tie another half knot, which makes a good solid square knot. Anyone may examine this who wishes to. I'm going to add a hitch here, and then I will stick the end there. Now when I pull the 2 ends, be prepared to see something remarkable. The knot disappears. Okay, that's Ashley. And we're generalizing this in various ways. So I want to show you the generalizations and then demonstrate it a bit. So here's the first generalization. You just, or rather at the top of the slide, you see the Chefalo diagrammed. And now we're going to take a stack of square knots. The simplest one is to take one more and thread it in the right way, and this will disappear. And this generalizes. You can make a stack of any size you like, and it will still work. And furthermore, there's a ring drop, which I won't be demonstrating, but I'd be happy to demonstrate afterwards, actually, rather than by a small film. But this works. You can make a stack of any size, and the ring will drop as well. So the next place here are some demos. So this first demonstration is the classic Chefalo trick. There's the figure 8, there's the square knot, and notice it is a square knot. And I'm doing this slowly so you can actually watch. The drop through the bottom, and then the drop through the top. All right. Now, if you were demonstrating this, you might find that instead of making a square knot, as Chefalo did, you might make a granny. If you look carefully, that's not a square knot. The weaving is opposite at the top. However, it's still possible to do the Chefalo if you make the right threading, and the threading involves going where? Underneath rather than over, and drop through appropriately. And the trick still works. Or you may go back to the original Chefalo and find that you can make the threading a little more complicated on the bottom. So one more, how about that? That's very knotted, more knotted than it was before. But of course, when you thread through the top, something gets undone, and it'll go away. And now here's the stack. I'm just doing one more in this movie, but you could try it yourself and do as many as you like. Now, our mnemonic for doing this is to take one of the lines and drop it across the entire thing so that it divides it in half, like that. And then you need to alternate in a correct way, dropping through regions, left, right, like that. That's the last. This is the next one, and of course it doesn't matter where I drop in the bottom. It might come apart. It does come apart.
All right. Thank you.
All right. That's the talk, other than to thank you and to point out, I hope, that 15 is equal to 3 times 5, and that makes it a sum of squares of Fibonacci numbers, which is appropriate for G4 15.